Revelation chapter 9. Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. Last week, I began on the fourth strategy of Satan. Right? We have seen the first three, where he would rule occasionally, and then second, the accuser, how he accuses us in our own life, and then how he deceives. And so we see the fourth one is a destroyer. Now the devil, as we have seen, Satan, he wants to establish to be just like God. He wants to be like God. The Church of Satan was initiated by this man called Anton Zender Lavey. And then in 1969, they brought in the Satanic Bible, just as an equivalent to us. All right, so the Church of Satan is nothing not new. Some of you will be receiving just this year, last year, the Church of Satan has been started. It has already been here from 1966. Then from 1969, the Satanic Bible was written. Okay, and is written by Zender Lavey, and that is the ultimate one. So you see, the devil wants to be like God. At the same time, he also has an unholy trinity. Now we have a holy trinity. God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. So he has an unholy trinity. Now who are this unholy trinity, which you will read in Revelation 13, all right? The beast. The beast is equivalent to anti-father, okay? Secondly, we will see that both 2 and 3 will be in Revelation chapter 16. The Antichrist, which is against Christ. And then the third one is the false prophets, how those are anti-spirit. So they also have a similarity just like us. Like Holy Spirit we have, they have this false prophet. And so they will have this unholy trinity because he wants to be equivalent with God. And he will do everything is possible. And those of us who are in opposition with him, he then goes all out for the last strategy where he will destroy. The word we just read just now in chapter 9, verse 11, we see the word in Hebrew, Abaddon, as well as in Greek, it is known Apollyon. Now these two words are meant destroyer. He destroys, okay? And we also have seen in other religion, you have gods called destroyer. I mentioned to you last week, Kali, right? Kali, there are two types of Kali. One is known as the graveyard Kali, and one is the Bakan Kalila. And so they destroy, okay? And I mentioned to you last week about this temple in Kantana, after Chumo, as you go to Sungai Sukun. They are so powerful that everybody, Malays, Chinese, Indians, they pass by the temple, they will do homage by pouring some coins and so forth, because there are fantastic, nasty accidents taking place in that particular stretch. Today, they have built a bypass behind the temple. So you don't have to ride through in front of the temple, because the authorities have realized of these unspeakable accidents. So they have built a bypass behind the temple, and so you won't be seeing the temple, you only be seeing the roof of the temple. All right, so we see these kinds of dangerous precedents of destroyer. Then we have the Hanuman. The Hanuman is a monkey god, and his work is of course as a warrior, but he's also a destroyer. Okay, so whoever worships this, all right, they worship a destroyer. Likewise in the Chinese, we have seen Ma Lao Zi. The Ma Lao Zi is a monkey god, and his function is to destroy and to protect you. So anyone who worships Kali or anyone who worships this monkey god, for two reasons. One, from protection from evil. Two, to destroy their enemy. It could be a business rivalry. All right, they will do all sorts of, go to the Kali and they will do all sorts of kind of, charms and bring it over to your place or home, wherever, whatever they do, they will do accordingly. Okay, so you will see how these people worships this. And so the word destroyer, we see how Adam and Eve was destroyed. Right? In the shape of a snake, came with legs, and how it killed their entire livelihood in the Garden of Eden. Destroyed them. Right? And we see snakes has got only one characteristic, is to kill, nothing else. Okay, in National Geography, you notice that the snake has only one characteristic, is to kill. Many years ago, I was in Singapore. I was working in Singapore. There was a ship, U.S. Navy ship, called upon Singapore, and it came, and it was a public exhibition. Of course, certain areas were prohibited. This ship is known as USS Destroyer. The name itself, you know it. Now, this ship was deployed in the Kuwait War. In Kuwait, when Iraq invaded, I believe in 90s, when Saddam Hussein conquered Kuwait, it was US as well as USS Destroyer was deployed into Kuwait Gulf area, and they used this ship. Now this ship is a nuclear powered ship, and so much so the ship can destroy anything that comes in its path, a submarine or even in air. Alright? And it has got its own features. And this features is, if this ship is being bombed or sinking or listing, or if this ship is captured, and this ship has got a self-destruct mode. Okay? Now how that it works is, and we have seen that person, this person will be stationed to this particular station. He's got a button. When the captain says that ship has to go into self-destruct, he has to press the button. And this particular person is handcuffed to the railing that he cannot leave that station at all. So every 2 hours there's a change of shift. So the person who comes with the ship will come with the key for the handcuff. He opens it up and he puts on the handcuff and hands the key over. That means this person cannot leave that particular port station. He has to press the button so that the ship can go into thousands of pieces, right? Because it's such a highly sophisticated ship, this USS Destroyer. So the very word we see is a destroyer. And last week we saw how it destroys family, how it destroys our individual family. And I'm going to show you a verse. You're going to be, your eyes and minds are going to wide open. Okay? I related to you some issues. Right? Last week I gave an illustration. I give you one more illustration today. Right? In-laws can be outlaws. All right? Now, in-laws, can they stay within their perimeters, the marriage life will be good. The day when in-laws get involved in your marriage life, your marriage is kaput. All right, that's it. I always say to myself and to all these people are getting married, make sure your in-laws does not get involved in you, giving you nosy advices. All right? Give you one example. It happened in our church. This young man was about to get married, and the father-in-law of the girl, the father of the girl, told the future son-in-law, I will come every Monday and I'll stock up your fridge. Right? I know what is my daughter likes to eat. So the son-in-law turned around and asked him, you mean to say that I cannot afford to keep my wife? That you have to come in? And he demanded for a house key. It became very ugly. Let me tell you this. It became very ugly. The father was nosy. The father-in-law was nosy. The entire relationship broke. I don't want to mention name. The entire relationship broke. Okay? Because in-laws become nosy into their affairs in marriage. Now the scripture is very clear to us in the book of Ephesians, right? A man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife. Likewise, vice versa, the wife too. They have become a family. Respect that. They have become a family. They will make any kind of obnoxious decision. It's their decision. Right? So, we see how the devil, I want to show you a verse. Turn to the book of Matthew. Matthew chapter 10. Okay, verse 36.
And a man's enemies will be the members of his household.
Repeat again, please.
And a man's enemies will be the members of his household.
Right. Now, if you would look further up the verses, You will see mother-in-law, father-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, okay? All that mentions there. Alright, your enemies are right within your home. This is Jesus' very own word. Okay? Now, as I said, and I qualified myself last week, we are not against human beings. We are not against flesh and blood. Okay? We are not against flesh and blood. We are against the powers of rulers and the powers of darkness that inside them. So we hate what they do. We love them. Get it? We love them, but we hate what they are doing. Right? Like in this father-in-law. We should love the father-in-law, but we should hate what he was doing. Okay? So this is important. In Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12, it's very clear that we are against not flesh and blood, that means human being. We're against the powers of darkness and rulers. You see the word rulers? Rules our mind. So many a times our in-laws will come and advise, give you all the needed advice because you are young, and they will come and give you all the advice. No need to, because they have already gone through a series of premarital counseling. They have been equipped, they've been told, and they should follow those guidelines. Their marriage will be better. Okay? So we need to understand, my friend, the devil will go all out. Let's look at John chapter 10, verse 10.
The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly.
Right, look at the word in verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill. This thief is mentioned here is about Satan. Huh? He comes to steal and kill. Steal your salvation. Steal your joy. Steal your peace. Steal your prosperity. Steal everything that goes on for you. He wants to steal it and put in his camp. Then he wants to kill. He wants to finish you off. The word here in verse, the Greek word is known as apolesia, which means comes completely destroyed. Alright, to finish you off. That's the word that's being said in this Greek apolesia. So we see how this devil come on all out attack when we come to when he couldn't succeed in other three areas. Okay. Now let's see some scripture portions. Right? How he comes to kill, how he comes to destroy, and we have to go back to this book again and again and see the finer pure points so that we can understand, recognize, deploy them in your life and in your family life, and you'll be a better person. Your family will be a better person. Okay? And so that, right, families can live together when you both make a decisions, it's both of your decisions. It's not influenced by any nosy people outside your marriage. And so that you can be. Today we see lots of fights. Okay? Lots of fights. Because a third party comes and get involved, making decision for you. And becomes very, unpleasant. And the marriage become unpleasant. And a place where you have no peace. You can't sleep. Why? Because you have failed to see how the devil has been moved into your family life. Okay? Now we will see how the devil brings an attack. Let's go back to the book of Job, my favorite book. Job, let's turn to Job. Okay, let's see chapter 1. And let's look at verse 14 to 16.
A messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans attacked and took them. They also slew the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you.
Okay, the first one. The first one, while Job was doing very well and good and fantastically fine sailing, everything, and then the devil came for an attack. Okay, he came and, alright, the one of the servant came and said, your oxen as well as your donkeys were feeding beside. The Sabaeans attacked and took them away. Now I want to make this clear. Those days, biblical time, riches. Your riches is not money. It's what you have a livestock, donkeys and camels and oxen and sheep, or how big you have. We see that in the life of Abraham, we see the life of Jacob, all right, how rich they were, all right, with all this materialism, like livelihood they have, livestock, okay? So the first gone, all right, oxen as well as the donkeys were gone. Okay, let's read the next. 16.
While he was still speaking, another also came and said, The fire of God fell from heaven and burnt up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you.
Now the second riches has gone from Job, his sheep. Now, sheep is the highest commodity than the oxen and the donkeys, and they are higher in terms of commodity prices. Sheep are much higher, okay, because sheep are given for offerings, all right, for meat and so forth, all right. So you find one of the most richest commodity Job lost. Okay, keep that in mind. Let's see the third one. Is it the third one? Okay. Yeah. The third one, 17, sorry. Look at verse 17.
While he was still speaking, another also came and said, The Chaldeans formed 3 bands and made a raid on the camels and took them and slew the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you.
Okay, now we see the Chaldeans came by and they told Job, your best Mercedes-Benz, your BMW, your Bentley all gone. Transportation, camels are meant for transportations. Camel can go into desert without water for many days. This is one features of camel. So camels are being used, and anyone who has a camel is luxury, and anyone who has a donkey is like having a kanchil. Okay, now you know the difference. Camel is those who are having BMWs and Bentley and Merc, okay? But those who are having donkeys like kanchil and Potataga and so forth. Alright, so this is it. So you see the differences here. Even that is now gone. Now you see, the wealth has been taken away. No more money. Right, one scholar wrote this, that he had no money even to give a proper funeral service for his children. We'll see that later. Right? Now we see completely he lost, he became a pauper. Today, my friend, how the devil can attack you is another way, right, is through your finances. Okay? Your finances, when you are little, you don't have short of finances, then you are going to have problem. Alright, you will have fight. I have seen families squabbles is over money. Alright, do you know that? People squabble over money. For husband, wife squabble over money. It's not enough for this, not enough for that, not, the squabbles. Right, let's look at one verse, 1 Timothy. Let's turn to that. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10, what does he say?
For the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil.
Right, the love of money is a source of all sorts of evil. Okay, then?
And some by longing for it have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs.
Right, can you see this or not? It's directly speaking about Christians, you and me. Some has wandered away, alright, because of no money status. If you have lost your status, you're gone. I have known at one particular case. Right? This happened in Port Dickson, the 1998, 97, 98, the financial crisis. Alright, this woman, Chinese woman, this much of shares, it's 24 million shares she has played. She came to the church Sunday morning in front of me, she dropped everything and said, Pastor, the 24 million is all now mere pieces of paper. Just gone over, and she is looking deranged. She used to come to church all well, makeup and so forth, but that morning she came to church as if she just got up from bed. Alright? Deranged. Money gone. 24 million just gone when the financial crisis hit our nation. Okay? And what happened? Do you know that woman, that husband divorced her? No more money. Alright, now you see, money is the root of all evil now, including Christians. And the scripture is so clear, my friend, it even wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Money, money, money. Today I've seen many families are squabbling over money, property, fights. They don't talk to each other. Christians, they don't talk to each other. Alright, over money, you're not giving us enough money. Friends, this is where I will say a simple lifestyle. Okay? It's a simple lifestyle. That you have to live a simple lifestyle. My friend, when I began my ministry, some of my pastors own cars, but I own a bike. And I will tell you my pain and struggle in rain, drenched, wet. I'll be going to church, and so much so my elders were telling me, Pastor, would you please leave a pair of clothes in the church? So when you come drenched, wet, when you're living up north, the rainfall is very much high. And so I had to prepare myself, and then when I come, change my dress, it's not easy on a bike, heavy rain. It was discomfort, yes. I could have gone, beg, borrow, steal, alright, and get a car. But that's not my principle. If God gives me, God gives me. And so I went on a bike, simple lifestyle. I had no TV. I had no CD player for about 4 or 5 years. I could live with it. Though I had a lot of CDs, I couldn't hear my music. I could live with it. I couldn't cry over and say, no, I don't have a, indirectly telling church members, I don't have a player, they're trying to tell you that I don't have a player, people to come and give me a player. Friends, this is where we talk about simple lifestyle. What is our simple life? Today, living in Klang Valley, it's a rat race. If your neighbor, if your brother-in-law, or if your brother, if your sister, somebody doing a big property, you must come to that standard. Alright? How you come to the standard? Beg, borrow, steal. And then inside the house, no more peace. Vietnam house lah. Alright? Why? By showing to the whole world that you have a fantastic mansion, that you have a fantastic, 24 rooms and so forth, to tell the whole world, but in the house, you have no peace. You have no joy. You want to have such a life? And that is your choice then. That's your choice, and then you want to choose the way, the path the devil has led you. Simple lifestyle. If you cannot afford, can't afford. Friends, I would say a perfect example. I'm an example. I've lived it. I still live it. Right? I don't have to drive a 15 years old car. Some of us told me, hey, you upgrade your car. I say, I don't. Unless the Lord provides, I take. Alright? Simple lifestyle. Alright? People need to upgrade your cars to show. Contractors, they need to upgrade. Alright? So that when they go and see their client, this guy is driving a brand new Merc. Okay, that means he's doing very well. So they offer their contract to them. Alright? Because you need to be status high. Our Christian life does not call. A simple lifestyle. Live within your means. If you cannot afford, don't afford lah. Right? If you cannot afford, don't afford. And so we see here in Job's life, everything is taken. Did he flip over? Did Job flip over? All his Mercedes Benz are gone. All his riches gone. All his money gone. He's a pauper. He didn't flip over, man. And the devil was very upset. Right? The devil was so upset. And you know what he did the next? Let's read that. Job chapter 1 verse 18.
While he was still speaking, another also came and said, your sons and your daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And behold, the great wind came across the wilderness and struck the four corners of the house, and it fell on the young people, and they died. And I alone have escaped to tell you.
Now you see the devil, the word we just read in John 10:10, he comes to kill. He killed, his 7 sons and 3 daughters. He killed. Alright, I want to show you another verse so that you will know what's the extent the devil can go to. Let's look at chapter 2 of Job and let's read verse 6. Chapter 2, verse 6.
So the Lord said to Satan, Behold, he is in your power, only spare his life.
Imagine God is telling Satan, he's within your power because you came and boasted to me. Alright, you have blessed him so much. So I said you can do anything you want. I know his faith. Right? But spare his life. Look, God is telling, spare his life. You know what that means? The scholars are saying this, the devil can kill you literally, but it cannot kill your soul, cannot kill your spirit. Alright? So devils can physically kill you, my friends. This is what the word has given us. And so we see the devil killed, alright? The word in 1 word it says, while I'm still speaking, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking, and in their wine, and there came a great wind. A hurricane came in, and it fell upon them, and they died. And all these are work of Satan, one by one. All these are work of Satan, one by one, was coming upon him to destroy him, to do his very best to get him on his side. Now we see the third, how he destroyed Job. Let's look at chapter 2 of Job. Let's see verse 7.
Then Satan went out from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot to the crown of his head.
So you see, now comes to the third. He killed all his children. He destroyed all his riches. And that is not enough. And then now come to his physical body. Right? Smote him with boils. Alright, the boils are so terrible that he has to sit on ashes. He has to sit on ashes and the broken pottery, and he was scratching. And every time he scratches, pus flows. You know how ugly it is? And how miserable his life is? Right? That a man who worshipped God, who honored God, think about it, that you love God, you honored God, you did everything, the devil has taken a hold on your life. What will be your response? Give up. That's what will happen. Right? The devil through this will create depression into you. Number one. And then you get angry with God. And then you can even make statement. I have heard people saying, why did I ever born? Have you heard that? Why did I ever be born? Why have I suffer all like this, Lord? Why did I born? Okay, because it leads you into all kinds of isolation and even to suicidal. Okay, it can even lead you to suicidal, and it can destroy you permanently. That is what the devil was trying to do all this while, my friend. And so the most of the devil's attack, okay, if he cannot get your 3 strategy, the final one, he will go for your physical body. Okay, for your physical body. And I'm going to show you 3 verses, how the devil attacks your physical body. Alright, the first one. Let's turn to Matthew chapter 17. Right, Matthew chapter 17, and let's look at verses 14 to 18.
When they came to the crowd, a man came up to Jesus, falling on his knees before him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is a lunatic, and he is very ill, for he often falls into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples.
Okay, thanks. These 2 verses be good. Alright. Now we see an incident, right, in verses 14 and 16. A father brought his son. Now, the father brought his son before Jesus and knelt before him, and he said, Lord, have mercy, for he is a lunatic. Okay, he's a lunatic. And the next he said, and is very ill and often falls into fire and often into water. Okay, now keep that in mind. Now what happened here, the father brought a son who is a lunatic. Now the word lunatic in Greek is selesilazomai, okay, the Greek word, and means moonstruck. Okay, the word selesilazomai means moonstruck. Now, the word lunatic comes from the English word, it's actually a Sanskrit word, luna. Now, luna means what? Moon. Okay, now, this luna, whenever the moon comes up, this boy disposition will change. He will come into possession, right? So whenever the moon comes, the father is very scared, right? He will change. And then what happens? The spirit inside him got two things to do, to destroy and kill him. One, he will lead him into where? Water, to drown, all right? Or fall into fire, scorching fire, burn you alive in third degree and finish you off. Can you see how the devil works? I was ministering to someone in a condo, 18th floor, and the spirit was talking. I said, okay. The spirit said, okay, I will leave. Okay, go. Open the sliding door. Okay, the sliding door has got a balcony, yeah? So I said, why do you want me to open that door? So that I can go lah. You know what does it mean or not? To bring the whole person and flung from the 18th floor. Alright, smart, isn't it? I will go. Alright, but open the sliding door lah. Can you see the smartness of the devil wants to finish off that person? So he said, no, you just go how you came, that's the way you go. Right? So we see, friends, I have seen possession cases there people have died. In some of the so-called traditional churches, sad to see, there's one case I know of, possession. And then one of the family members called me, said, Pastor, my family members possessed, can you help me? Can you hear over the phone? I said, yes, I can hear. But can you get your permission from your pastor? Yes, Pastor. So they called up their pastor. You know what the pastor said? Take your daughter straight to the hospital and admit her into the psychiatric ward. Can you see people's mind? And so happened that they just took her to the psychiatric ward, they followed what their pastor said, wife, and they gave her sedation injection to keep her calm. The spirit heaven never left. Alright? She never left. And then 2 days later she was discharged from, she was not well, and she hanged herself. Poor 28 years old girl. Hanged herself. And no reasons at all. One morning they got up and saw her in the room, she is hanging from the fan. No reason. And so the devil took the joy. When I was informed of that, I just shook my head and I didn't disbelieve. We could have helped. We could have removed the spirit. But you know, there are a lot of disbelief in us. Right? They couldn't believe that this spirit can go. And another spirit, another ministry that I was doing in Kuala Selangor, and this happened in this place called Elmina. Now it's a big township. Those days was Elmina estate. Okay, if you all have ever heard, in 1977, the first air disaster that took place in Malaysia, Japan Airline crashed there. Right, and I remember that very well when I was passing by, and I could see the flames. Okay. And of course, all the time, by the time I was going, it was about 7 in the morning, and they were all barricaded, police was there, no one can allow to go, but we can see the smoke. Right? And this place, so I go to ministry because it's an estate. So one day I went to one of our church members' home, and I spoke to them, and then I said, I smell the spirit of death. And they laughed. Right? They laughed. And they said, Pastor, what are you talking about? I said, I felt in my spirit. I think for me to tell you this, I think pray. Pray that whenever it comes, stop it. Okay, stop it. And they loved it. They laughed about it. Oh, nothing, Pastor. We all are well and good and so fine. I said, okay, and I left. 1 week later, husband and a wife had a quarrel. Massive quarrel. wife drank paraquat. You know what paraquat? Weed killer. Alright, and she died. And the husband hugged me and said, Pastor, you said that you spirit of death. I said, I told you so. You took it lightly, you laughed, you smiled. You were not serious. What your man of God was telling you. You lost your wife over a quarrel. Can you see how the devil works in here? Can you see how the devil moves in here for a kill? And can you see how the devil destroying families today? And we see this, how the Spirit, in this case, in 17th chapter of Matthew, we see how the moon comes up, he plays up, and he wants to go and commit suicide. The work of the devil, the final blow is to kill you, finish you off. Either to destroy you or to kill you. So you need to be aware. Friends, what I'm preaching is something serious and something in reality is happening in this world today. I'm not joking about it. It's not a fictional story that I'm telling you. It is all part and parcel of my ministry that I've seen. And so where are we standing in here? Do we able to have the spiritual mind to see and recognize what's happening? Are you able to recognize what's happening in your family? And accordingly, or you want to flow along? Then you live in misery. You will live in misery. You will live in want. You will live in your struggle. You will live in your pain. Alright, and then you'll come and say, I give up. Right? That's not it. If we are Christian, remember we are a victorious people. The Bible tells us we are conquerors. Why are we not conquerors today? Right? So we see how the Spirit can attack to lead you to isolation, can lead you into to withdrawal, and so much so that you cannot live a normal life. Friends, this is the work of the devil. He comes for attack. He wants to kill. He wants to destroy you. So let me just leave with it, and next week I'll continue how the Spirit works to bring about destroying, killing. I'm not finished yet. I'm going to speak more next week. Alright? So let's understand today. Recognize this. Families recognize this. One, living simple lifestyle. Okay? Simple lifestyle. You have to live a simple lifestyle. The food on your table can be some mere normal food, not expensive stuff. Alright? And if you have to go on a bicycle, go on a bicycle. You don't need to show yourself according to what your other families, extended families are living in splendor. You have to show that. But there's no joy, peace in your own life. You don't have peace under your roof. Am I right? Why do you have to live for people? Friends, you live for yourself. That's what I always say. I believe in this. I don't live for people. I live for myself and for my Lord. I don't care what they say about me. I will not melt in any way. As long as my conscience is right before my God, it's right. Alright, number one. Number two, money is the root of all evil. Remember that. Because of money, we have seen families disintegrated, husband-wife quarrels extensive. There's no peace and joy, right? Because of money. Right? There's no give and take. There's no understanding. And all this cause, why? There's no prayer life between both of you. Right? I remember in my own life, right? In my own marriage, we have never fought about money. Honestly, I stand before God. Not a single day there was a quarrel over money. We never fought about money. Never. We have lived. We have lived in simple lifestyle. There were times that we just lived on Magini when we were beginning our ministry. We lived in simple lifestyle. I was on a bike. I would go on a bike. And Hilda used to follow me on a bike. She fell off from the bike too. And then immediately, you will look for a car. We couldn't afford. Simple lifestyle. Not status. Okay, it's not status. If you live for status, then you are damned on yourself. Let me tell you this. If you're looking for status in your Christian life, you want to be liked by somebody, you want to be in equal power with someone, you are the one is at the end of the day, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer in pain, you're going to suffer in struggle. And that's about it. So remember, money is the root of all evil, and it can even lead those away from your faith into many griefs. So watch out. Money is not the importance in your family life. Money is not the important in your personal life. Live a simple lifestyle. Paul Yong Ishao, the man who died recently, he shook South Korea. Alright, one of the biggest church he brought in. That man died. He had only 6 pence, coats about 4, and they went into his room and they saw a few books that he had, a few pencils and pen. That's all he had. Big church, a mega church. But that man was leading a simple lifestyle. Not like these days in our Malaysia, mega church pastors are driving a 7 Series BMW I know of. I know there's one pastor driving an SL 600 Merc. Alright? And I know pastors are in the morning sitting and playing with shares. Mega church. Alright? Once you get into the mega church, you need to flow into the status. Sorry lah. May not. I was leading a mega church in Johor. I could flow if I want to, but that's not my calling. I kept my ground on the floor. And I know myself, I know my call. And I said to myself, I will have a simple lifestyle. I lived in a most broken down house. They told me, Pastor, if we give you a better house and so forth, I said, no, thank you. I live in the They respected for that. I was slept on a bed, no mattress, or just the wood. Okay, these are my ministries. And I could have demanded, it's a big church of 6,000 members, I could have demanded, give me the best upholsteries, give me the best bedding, give me the best cupboards, give me the best toilet system. And I walked out of that church with a much high respect. Simple lifestyle. You don't have to live according to the status. If you are living to your status, you are the one who's going to suffer. Remember this 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 10. Alright? We'll continue next week. Let us pray.